Okay, we do have a quorum, so we should start.
Okay. Do you want me to share the PowerPoint, or do you want to start with the points to talk about?
We can start with the points to talk about, but first we have to open the meeting and second it.
I move we
Okay.
open the meeting.
Thank you, Jeff.
I second.
Thank you, Beth. Okay, we're doing this extra meeting because of needing to have a meeting with town officials in regard to the plans for the White Pond improvement plan. Our role is oversight of the pond and its environment. That's our charter. And we don't have enough information that we could do a good enough review. For example, we've never seen perspectives of the whole job. And there's just a lot of questions on details of the job. So that's why we're meeting. I sent people something this afternoon about points. What our committee needs to do is based on fact and science. We have that vision statement, which is an accepted town document, which states very well the conditions of White Pond and what needs and what you need to do to keep it to the best condition. Sorry. So we have the vision, and we also have, from years on the committee, expertise in the pond and the watershed. I'm sorry, my cat is trying things back here. The pond and watershed that we would have more knowledge than some people in the town, perhaps, and we should make use of that. In going over the plans, Maria Hiaseki brought me some plans and some pieces of information. We're going to go over the plans at our next regular meeting on 4/28. So how does everything they're doing in this White Pond improvement plan pertain to what the vision talks about? And how does it, which is all to protect the pond and the watershed? Weston and Sampson and Kate said they've done a number of waterside plans and parks, but have any of them been actually the watershed or surround of a kettle pond, which is very unique in needing a good watershed to keep recharging and filtering. And there's many aspects of what keeps that watershed in best condition. One of it is to have as much land unencumbered as possible so that you get a good absorption, because the watershed is the filter, it's the recharger of the pond. Besides precipitation, it's the underground waterways that come from the precipitation and are absorbed in the ground. And anytime you increase impermeable material, you are impeding water absorption. And White Pond has an undersized watershed. It's a 2-to-1 proportion of watershed to pond. A normal proportion is 20 or 30 to 1. So every piece of land is very important. And it already has a lot of development in the houses and roads and driveways, paved areas that are in existence now. So we need to look at what is being added. If somebody in the watershed is going to do a change to their house, after they're approved, they get all their approvals from the building department inspector. They come to us for the final approval. And our first question is, what's the increase in impermeable surface? And what is the change in drainage? And how is that kept on the property? So when you look at this plan, we have I believe it's 1/4 mile path, switchback path. And I remember long ago in the forums, it was said that it would be like packed stone dust. Living on the steep side of a hill and having had a stone dust path, I thought that was probably not going to work because it ruts really easily. So, and the last set of plans, it's been changed to blacktop. The path is a sidewalk, how shall I say, a sidewalk ratio in how steep it is. So it's supposed to be like a sidewalk. The first leg of it from the parking lot to the first seating area is a little bit, maybe a little bit steeper than the last legs, but it passed as a sidewalk level. So anywhere, another, besides the blacktop being impermeable, and it's going to be buffered with boulders and plantings and some cement walls, but it's still impermeable. And we've come across a product that Weston and Sampson has used before called Gravel Pave 2. It's a pervious surface. It's used in national parks and nature areas, and it has an excellent ADA rating. It's basically kind of a grid. It has a mat with it, and then there's a gravel that fills the grid. It comes in different colors. And there is,
Carmen,
Yes,
it's
Jane.
Jane. Is this what Beth had such a hard time sharing?
yes, but she has the details to share today on this. She'll
I'm
share-
not blaming, I'm just saying that was the contentious document, was just this discussion.
Mm,
I'm sorry, could you say again, Jane? I couldn't quite hear you.
It's okay. I'm just,
I don't think, Jane, I don't think last time we had this at all. This is new. I just put a PowerPoint together. This is a brand new document.
This is something that somebody brought to me who's an architect.
so I mean the actual surface, the discussion of the gravel, this particular type of gravel.
Uh-huh.
You want me to, I can show you the PowerPoint. Would that be helpful?
Yeah.
No,
It
no, no,
actually-
I'm not trying to jump in. I'm just asking I just was trying to figure out if this is what I was trying to see before.
It was mentioned in the last meeting that Kate was at
I
because
get what you mean, Jane. Sorry. It was such a huge file that that it couldn't be sent, I guess. Yeah.
That's all I was,
Yeah, that is. And it was a lot of pages and I condensed it for this meeting to like 4.
okay, sorry to interrupt. I just was,
no, that's okay. If you don't have that, Beth will send you for what she has now on it too after this meeting. But Kate said that it was used somewhere and the kids picked up the little white stones and they took them and decorated their buildings and things like that. I don't think they'll do that with a dirt colored, and the whole thing for the dirt color is for it to just look very natural. The other thing about the plan is it has these, we don't have any perspectives of it and we don't have any measurements that have been given to us. And it has 4 resting areas along the path, seating areas. They are approximately 16 feet by 20 feet. One of them is a bit smaller than that, maybe 8 by 10, but 16 by 20
16 by
feet.
20 feet rest areas?
Yeah, the rest areas approximately. We're going to get these measurements from Weston and Sampson. This is part of the details that we've never had for our oversight of the plan.
Can I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we got an email from Beth that's saying that she couldn't sleep because she saw things in the plan that we thought they took out last fall. Is that what we're
No, that was
talking about
Carmen.
now?
That was me.
Oh, that was you.
That
Yeah.
was me.
I have
Yeah,
no problem sleeping.
Oh, that was you, Carmen.
That was me.
Okay.
yeah.
But still, I thought they needed our approval before they can do anything, any construction. Is that true?
You know, Jane, I'm not sure about that they need our approval. We're supposed to give oversight.
Well, if we're oversight, then we're
And our-
oversight. Yeah.
well,
And I-
first of all, I think that there was, I think I saw a correction from Carmen later that there were some, I don't know that everybody here has the plan as it exists today. And Carmen, I saw some back and forth from you
Mhm.
regarding that.
And it's even changed now. The plan has changed now and nobody has
Right.
the changed plan.
Right, and
So-
nobody has it, and it's still a responsive space. I mean, we're gonna have another discussion, so I would really, really strongly advise the White Pond Advisory Committee to be cataloging its advice versus versus coming up with a more adversarial space. I just don't think that's going to be very productive.
We're
I-
not, Jane.
I
We're
agree.
not.
We're
This-
not.
This,
We're not.
this meeting is for us to, I don't think we've all heard the details yet. We certainly haven't seen all the details yet in the plan. And I just heard today how the plan was further changed and there was appendix given in, which actually is not correct and it's going to have to be changed too. So I'm just kind of cataloging the things that are make a difference to the watershed, which is increase in surface. And that's the path, the seating areas, the pavilion, and this, some of the other elements, like what should be, I think what is best for the pond is to do what is needed for the town to follow code, but not to do things that would be considered unnecessary, like this log play area, which again, it's on this, the path is blacktop, the seating areas are pervious pavers, but the water goes down between the pavers. And I don't know, people come here to go to the beach. I don't really see a log play area as being something in high demand. And it's a man-made structure, and those things always do have a deterioration rate. Whereas if that area, because there wasn't a log play area, was planted, that's something that renews and keeps going and adds to Concord's carbon capture. It was also shown to me today that the benches, are facing up. If you sit on the benches in these areas, you'll face uphill. You're not even looking down at the pond. So it was just to give people these details. There's signs on pedestal signs in the seating areas. And our committee talked about this before. And we said, usually at nature areas, your signs about your conduct and points of interest are at the entrance. And why couldn't it be at the entrance? It's just everything is a little more impediment upon the soil of the watershed.
Yeah, can I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
So we made recommendations last fall. I mean, it was in October, I think, about what we thought should be changed in the plan. And I thought they removed all the pavilions at that time.
Mhm.
So,
At one time they said, Kate said, if people don't want the pavilions, we'll take the pavilions out. And I thought there was a set of plans where they were out, but the pavilion is back in as a part of the plan. And it's, the reason for it is so that people can sit out of the sun in the shade. But it is another impediment upon the land. And for years, people sat in the shade above the wall there, back under the trees.
I thought we had a meeting and so many people came out against the pavilions.
Yeah.
So it was that they were going to take it out. So
Yeah.
I think we should write a letter to the town, to the Kate and the town manager saying, we haven't seen, we want to see a plan before anything goes forward. Just basically that, because we thought this was taken out and et cetera. We want to know what's going to be in this plan before anything happens. That's what we need to do
Okay,
at this point.
this is what this meeting is. It's to list these things. It's to list.
Okay,
because we're
great.
gonna
That's
ask
what
for
I
a
just want to
meeting
make sure happens.
with Kate and with Delia and with Jane and with Terry now if I'm forgetting somebody else in there, I'm sorry.
No, that's great.
To list these things and ask these exact questions and ask, can we see perspectives of the plan? We've never seen a perspective of the plan. We've seen one perspective of a view of the last piece of the sidewalk path at the beach. It really didn't show much. That's all we've seen for a perspective.
Can I interrupt? I
Yes.
think it'd be a lot faster for us. You started the list that you sent. I started putting bullet points on it, these things that you're
Thank you.
discussing one by one. And I think I can start typing like comments like, if, I see Nancy's here, Jane, Jeff, I can make comments there as well, because as Jane mentioned, we want to be, not adversarial, and we don't intend to be, but we can just go through them point by point. And I think the other question is, which I second what Jeff was just saying, is if it was taken out of the plan, how did it get back in? That's a mystery to me. I mean, there was 45 people at that meeting, and basically it was, it was going to be at the top, and then it was, nope, we don't need it. We'll have a small, kind of something honoring the person who started this, but the pavilion was gone. So how do things get back in when the voice of everybody, not just us, was, this is not really necessary? But I can pull up the share the screen, and we can just start going through there and make corrections and suggestions as we go. How about that?
Okay, thank you.
Because I mean, you did a good job of starting it all. So then we can just, it's easier. For me, honestly, it's easier to start reading and you can talk to it.
And I think having questions where, such as where did the pavilions come back in from, and what was the, why is exactly right. And when you were describing the different paving treatments or the different, anything that you're questioning from the standpoint of the health of the pond or the health of the area, highlight that. Say, we are making note of anything that we see as yet another impact on the ecosystem of the pond.
Yeah. So can you guys see my screen now?
No,
Really?
I can't.
I did share screen.
So I think we just, so a letter with all this stuff. the
Nothing's
impervious
changing.
trails. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, good. Okay.
That's good.
So just Carmen already kind of mentioned a little bit about the watershed being undersized. I just got more information, we're 2-to-1 versus normal 30-to-1. I'll add that. The ADA path you talked about, the seating areas planned for the size of the area, right now it has 4 benches. As Carmen mentioned, we don't have the measurements. We will get them. But there's a comparison. Walden has, X hundred feet from the road with no resting places. You just talked about the log play area, and we just finished right now, not finished, we started talking about the pavilion. And I can add also that this had previously been taken off the plan. Why is it back in?
That's great.
It is, Beth. Thank you.
Okay, and maybe these are not in certain order. I mean, one of the things we talked about doing is maybe even stack ranking them, but we can keep going. I think, Carmen, if you want to just, take the lead, these are, and I can type more if we need.
Okay, there's the new switchback concrete area for the ADA access at the bottom of the boat launch. It was going to be some stairs and ramp. It was deemed dangerous by the Commission on Disability. So now it's a concrete kind of ramp deal. Now, could that be in gravel pave too, instead of the concrete? Because it's, it's right there by the shore.
Oh my God.
I think you talked about the pedestal signs already. Yeah.
And and my point about that is it's Concord residents that use this, and how many times are they going to be looking at these signs? I mean, they might have guests, you have people coming and going from Concord, but still, I think at the entrance, like most places, nature places do have them up at the entrance.
Yeah.
And we could check about the size of the resting areas with the Commission on Disability, because this is to allow people with ADA equipment to be fully off the path so that they are not in the way and they don't feel stigmatized for being there with equipment. So,
So I have a question on that,
mhm.
because you've talked to the ADA department. If Walden is ADA compliant or needs to be, or are they exempt, why are they allowed not to have resting areas and why are we having to have resting areas? Do you know?
Well, I know that when I brought this up to the disability meeting, Jennifer, oh dear, I've forgotten her last name. Jennifer is their expert. And she thought that that was a long way for somebody to go without an area to rest. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name at this moment.
But that's somebody's opinion. I'm asking, is
And
there,
I think everybody on the Disability Commission either works in the field or has someone in family in the field. So they all are very knowledgeable about it and they look to
oh, sure.
Jennifer as their expert.
But what I mean is, why, if we compare ourselves to the other Kettle Pond, Walden, which is much bigger size, much bigger watershed, no development, no hard surfaces, why wouldn't Walden, with that long slope to get down to the beach, also have some requirements for resting benches? I'm just asking the
That's a
question.
question. That's a good question. And I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah, I think it was an opinion thing because when they realized how long the trail was, I think someone thought, well, they would have to have rest areas. I mean, a quarter mile is a really long way for someone with a disability to walk. And I thought the ADA committee decided they wanted access from the bottom. So now they're going to have access
Yes.
from the bottom and access from the top.
Right. They have to do that by code. If you have access for non-ADA top to bottom, ADA access must also echo that top to bottom.
Yeah,
And-
but they don't have that at Walden is what Beth is saying. They don't have that at Walden. They don't have ADA access from the top. They don't have a gradual trail going to the pond.
ADA, I'm sorry, Walden is state. I don't know if there's different laws that they go by.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Who would know that, Carmen? Do we or Jane? Does anybody,
Who could we ask? Would the ADA commission know that state's different than town? I mean, I would think the laws were made for the laws.
Well,
I
I
would
also
talk to
think that-
Walden. I know I can
Yeah,
find that out.
Carmen,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
This is Maria, and I tell you, I don't know what I'm doing a little bit here, so I don't even see my video. I apologize. I can tell you that Walden and both Concord and Walden have to meet Massachusetts MAAB. That's the Massachusetts Accessibility Board. And they both do. And you need to have an ADA path, and both do, because Walden has that walkway going down.
It's very
Um,
steep.
And their kettle bowl, they don't have to go as far. Their vertical drop is not as great as White Pond. But they
okay,
do have a long path. I think it was 300, 330.
yes, 3:30.
And it could be they have a slightly wider path
do.
than a minimum so that two could pass. I could go measure. I was thinking of going there and taking a look at it, measuring it, see if there are any benches along the way. They mentioned the chief engineer, Gene, I forget his last name, explained that they were adding a place for you to pull off and rest at the ends because two wheelchairs cannot pass each other along the path. I think it's probably a 4-foot path, which is minimum by code. And so,
Yes.
but instead of just doing a nice little, just widening it naturally at the ends, they added about a 22 by 16. It's that big in about 3 places, so that they created a place
I
at
see.
several of the switchbacks. And then they've added a 12-foot bench, a play area, or signage, something on pervious pavers. So they've created a place instead of just widening it for someone to pass each other or to stop if, get yourself arranged, or if you're a mother with pushing a child, maybe you want to stop there. Of course, the chances of people crisscrossing in a lot of traffic is probably pretty minimal, but still, I can see widening it a little bit if you want to, but they've taken the opportunity to create a place as a feature. I would say it's a feature that they've created.
You're talking about on the plan, Maria?
Yeah,
But it's a feature, is the feature simply that, I don't know if you were in the beginning where Carmen mentioned that this is, a beach, you're coming to the beach.
right.
Are features just a nice to have? if they're going to have an impact on the environment and the, you know, the runoff, et cetera.
Well, I'm sure the town sees this as an ad. It's good. They're giving it pervious pavers. But at the same time, in several of these places, there is some undergrowth there. There's those little plants growing. I went and took a look. So what they're doing is they're creating a hard surface. Though it is pervious, they're creating a hard surface where there is none. And then they have to create a retaining wall made out of the boulders, which is going to be cutting into the roots a bit because you've got to go deep down and create a little bit of a footing. So I'm not even double checked of how many trees they have to take out. It may not be that many, but still they are affecting the natural understory that's there, which may be only like 4 inches high, is something. There is natural growth there. And the question is, does the town see this as an amenity? I'm sure they think this is an amenity that they're creating. Is it going to be used? Is it actually maybe not an amenity? That's questions maybe to be asked. But back to the original question, both Walden and White Pond, the paths are required by code. They both meet them. And at Walden, I think it's a straight sidewalk. It's a 5% slope. That's about 330 feet down, long to get down. And then that takes you to a raised platform. I'm trying to remember, maybe about 100 feet long that you go across before you get to the ramp down to the beach.
Yeah, I've been there. I don't remember seeing any benches or anything was, you know, one of my points.
It's not required by code. I'll stop talking now.
Thank you.
That's good. So thank you. That's the answer. I wanted to know if it was required by code. So
Not at
thank
all.
you.
Not at all.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I have to go. I guess where we're at, like Beth is she's gonna write a draft of a letter. Is that right? What's gonna happen at this point?
Yeah, Jeff, if you go, we don't have quorum.
Oh,
I'm trying to make this not a long meeting, but it's this organizing for us.
okay. All right. I can take another 15. Let's do it.
Okay, all righty. Okay.
Cheryl, did Cheryl or Susan join by any chance?
We've got a lot of people.
I don't
No?
see
Okay.
them.
Yeah, but I couldn't see Maria either, and I just don't know
I'm
if the.
sorry about that.
No, it's
I
no
don't think
problem.
either, so. I did
No,
the
no
wrong
problem.
thing.
I just meant they could have been in the meeting and we would have had a quorum. I just don't see them.
Oh,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. I could call, no, I'm sorry.
No,
I am
no.
here.
It's fine. It's fine. I just thought maybe they were here. Okay, well, then let's just go through. I mean, I'm not making a letter, Jeff. I'm just writing our comments right now. You know, we're all
Okay.
just kind of talking through it. So we have something that's, you know, with these questions and some answers we're even getting now, like that was a good answer. Thank you. Okay. So that would be a question to the board and to Kate, Carmen, right?
Yeah.
Is the benches are not required by code. So you know, one of the comments you made, do we need that many? Do we need them that long? Can be something we can suggest, right?
Yep,
So, okay.
okay. And your next is, so, you know, and I questioned if, you know, Kate and Weston and Sampson, are they attuned to how important this land is as a watershed? Have they done parks and watersheds before where they have been careful of the land? You know, we don't know that.
Okay. I think one of the questions you have here about the trees being removed, part of, you know, the trees, some are going to be removed. I think, you know, they had actually tagged the ones and you had done a walk. But now with the addition and the changes to the plans, does that mean even more trees would be removed?
It could mean it with the pavilion.
Yeah.
The pavilion
So-
got pushed, the pavilion went over the no build line and it wasn't noticed. It's been pushed back into the hillside. And to do that and get the walkway in, which is not of a great that goes with the pavilion. They have to change it. They have to redesign the pavilion if the pavilion, you know, is going to be. There could be some of the very large trees at the bottom wouldn't be able to stay. They'd be in the way.
So the change with the pavilion. So if we get the answer that the pavilion's not needed, then it's less of an impact. Okay.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, the established trees have deep roots. They're very good for the absorption. The new trees will eventually be good, but they're not going to be such for some years.
Okay.
Okay. Was that about it?
I think, you know, I think you go back to the beginning, and I can show that up real quick to the, you know, we were talking about pervious, pervious and pervious structures. So let me just show that very quickly, so everybody knows what we're talking about. If I can get the Zoom thing to show me my screen. Can you see this, or do I have to pick the document up again?
No, we can see it. I can see it.
You can see the PowerPoint?
I can't.
I cannot see the PowerPoint.
Okay, hang on. Okay, now?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is just a short, this is, Jane, what you were sent, but we all sent and had a hard time opening. So just kind of encapsulated a few of the pictures and some of the technical sheets. And if you can see right there, there's the wheelchair with the wheel, and, you know, it's a permeable surface underneath. This is the same, it's just another example.
But this isn't, you know, it comes in this color where it really looks like a dirt path. It comes in many colors, and that's what we would, you know, want to be chosen to use this material.
That looks good.
And that talks about the basic components of a porous paving system. I think, you know, Carmen mentioned how, you know, the other kind of materials that are used that aren't permeable can just obviously all be swept away. So this would make sure it stays stable into the ground. And these compare, Carmen, you can tell, you're the one who looked up all this stuff. These compare the different kinds. There's plastic, there's both plastic material, and then there's this this other.
And there's one by Alcoa, which maybe that means it's metal. But the plastic ones, you can see them, they're used like out in DC near for entries to major buildings that tourists go to. It's a very long lasting and well-used product. It has an excellent rating for ADA. I think they put cars on it too. It's tough.
Yeah.
And, you know, the blacktop, there you go. The blacktop with freezing and not, you know, you do get splits on it sometimes and cracks in it. This is an adjustable product. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the plastic is the grid that holds it's actually crushed rock. So it's the color that the rock colors are basically whatever color you want to use, because whatever rock comes and all the colors the rocks come in, but they're angular. So they sort of by friction hold their place better than regular pebbles, the crushed rock. And they're on this plastic grid that's attached to a fabric filter. And those are like the three components that make up this material for paving.
In the bigger file, there's more pictures of it, you know, going through parklands. It's all green around it with wheelchairs on it.
There's that one picture of the kid coming down the hill with the stone retaining wall next to it. That's a really good picture, because that's really close to what we have. They're proposing that stone retaining wall. It's not, you know, the boulders. It's really the boulder
It's
And
true.
I think
There is a picture that would look very much like.
Yeah, and it's really natural, looks very natural. I would add that in to give some short and
Yeah, I
natural.
can grab that. I can grab that and add it.
Okay. So Jeff needs to leave. I think it's great, Beth, what you did with the PowerPoints. And in our regular meeting on the 28th, we'll go more into things. Now, shall we work on getting some of the answers, about the pavilion stuff to have at the meeting? What do you
I think
think?
we should write a letter. You should write a letter with those concerns and
Okay.
to Kate and the selectmen and we should get it out. Because my wife says they're getting ready to start construction, she thinks.
They're going to do this year the drainage system, and that new drainage system is something, needed. We have no objection to that. It's going under the blacktop. And it's been needed for years.
But I
It's the
suppose
best
it's gonna be,
improvement they're doing, and they don't have money for much else, and they have to do ADA access. So I think they might be also painting some parking spaces at the bottom, ADA parking spaces at the bottom. They don't have all the money lined up yet.
yeah, but
But
I
it
thought
is-
they were gonna do the trail this year as well. They were saying trail and the drainage.
I don't think that final plan hasn't been made.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, I just saw the Natural Resources Commission does have the drainage as one of their topics of discussion for their next, because the agenda was just published today. So, we could send a representative and sit there, but to your point, that's coming up soon, that meeting. So, and I think Kate kind of asked that we, put some of these things in writing, but I understand, Cameron, too, we need some answers, but that's going to be Kate and that group that's doing with architectural, whatever they are, would have some of the answers, right?
And
Jane, do you have any suggestions? Is it best to just we try to clean these notes up and
Yep.
then send them?
That's great.
Yeah, I think so. And Jane, Weston and Sampson has used this product before in installations. They're familiar with it.
When is the NR meeting? Do you know?
I think it might be Thursday, Jeff. I'll send you an email.
The NRC
thank
meeting
you.
is the 21st. It's Wednesday night.
Wednesday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we're good, yeah?
Okay, all right. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys.
Thank you
Thank
all for
you.
coming. Thank
All
you,
right, too.
Jane.
Thank you.
And thanks,
Bye-bye.
Maria, for all the information
Sure.
you've gotten up.
Okay.
So we're closing the meeting?
We are. Oh, here, make a
Second.
move before
I'm
you
gonna
go,
close
Jeff. Okay,
All right, bye-bye.
okay. Thank you very much.